wind whispered through the trees, rustling the dry leaves as the last light of day slipped below the horizon. Jason tightened the straps of his backpack and glanced over his shoulder at his three friends Mia, Eric, and Samantha. The four of them had spent the past hour trekking deeper into the forest, searching for the ruins of an old settlement rumored to be cursed. "This place gives me the creeps," Mia muttered, shivering slightly despite the warm night. "That's the whole point, isn't it?" Eric grinned, flashing his flashlight through the towering trees. "We're here to see if the legends are true." Samantha rolled her eyes. "Legends are just stories. There's no such thing as cursed shadows." Yet, as they ventured deeper, an unnatural silence settled over the woods. The usual chirps of crickets and rustling of small creatures were absent. It was as if the forest was holding its breath. Jason flicked on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the thick darkness. The trees loomed over them, their twisted branches forming eerie silhouettes against the starless sky. Then, in the periphery of his vision, he saw something moved between the trees. A shadow, darker than the night itself. "Did you see that?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. "See what?" Mia asked, stepping closer to him. Jason hesitated. Maybe it was a trick of the light. But then, Eric's being caught something, a long, wavering shadow darting between the trees. It moved unnaturally, as if it had no solid form. "Okay, that was weird," Eric admitted, his bravado faltering. Samantha snorted. "Probably just an animal." "No," Jason murmured. "That wasn't an animal. That was something else." The group pressed on, though unease settled into their bones. The deeper they walked, the more the shadows seemed to shift around them. They flickered and danced at the edge of the flashlight beams, never fully seen but always there. Then, the whispers began. At first, they were soft, indistinct murmurs riding the wind. Then, the voices grew clearer low and guttural, as if the forest itself was speaking. "Leva," Mia gasped. "Did you hear that?" Jason nodded, his grip tightening around the flashlight. "Keep moving." But the shadows closed in. The darkness thickened around them, swallowing the path behind them. A feeling of dread clawed at their chests, primal and inescapable. Suddenly, Eric screamed. Jason turned just in time to see Eric being dragged into the darkness, his flashlight clattering to the ground. His screams echoed, then abruptly stopped. Silence fell once more. Mia sobbed. "We have to get out of here." They ran, the trees stretching endlessly in every direction. The shadows moved faster, darting between the trunks, herding them deeper into the forest. One by one they vanished. Samantha tripped, her scream cut short as darkness enveloped her. Mia fell next, her body yanked into the abyss. Jason was the last. He stumbled into a clearing, gasping for breath. The shadows gathered around him, twisting and churning like living smoke. A voice, deep and ancient, whispered in his ear, "No one leaves." The light of his flashlight flickered, and then there was only darkness. Jason awoke to a heavy stillness, his body lying on cold, damp soil. A dim, bluish glow pulsed through the trees, revealing the skeletal remains of an ancient village. Crumbled huts, moss-covered statues, and broken cobblestone paths stretched around him. The shadows moved along the walls, watching. He scrambled to his feet, heart hammering. Mia? Eric? Samantha? No answer. Only the sound of distant whispering. Jason grabbed his flashlight, but the beam was weak, barely cutting through the gloom. He stepped forward, his breath visible in the sudden cold. A guttural sound rippled through the air, a chorus of voices, low and hollow. "You have seen us. Now you are one of us." A shape loomed ahead, forming out of the darkness. It was Eric, or what was left of him. His body was wrapped in shifting shadows, his eyes hollow voids. "Run," Eric's distorted voice warned, "before they take you completely." Jason stumbled back, but behind him, the shadows surged forward. Cold tendrils wrapped around his ankles, pulling him into the ground. He struggled, but the darkness was relentless. The last thing he saw was the village vanishing, swallowed by an abyss of endless black. And then silence. Jason didn't know how long he remained in that void, seconds, hours, or years. But when he opened his eyes again, he was somewhere else. He stood at the edge of the village, yet something had changed. The trees had grown taller, their branches stretching unnaturally toward the sky. The ruins no longer seemed abandoned. Ghostly figures walked among the crumbled remains, their forms flickering like candlelight. Jason's breath hitched. The figures were whispering to each other, their hollowed-out eyes turning toward him. "Join us," they murmured in unison. Jason turned to run, but the village stretched endlessly in every direction, trapping him in its cursed grasp. A church bell rang in the distance, deep, resonant, and unnatural. The whispers grew louder, swelling into a deafening cacophony. Then, something stirred behind him. He felt a presence cold, ancient, and hungry. Slowly, Jason turned. A towering figure of shadows loomed before him, its form shifting and writhing as if barely contained within the space it occupied. Its face was a void of endless night, eyes like burning coals staring deep into his soul. Jason felt himself losing grip on reality. His body was dissolving into darkness, his own shadow merging with the entity before him. A final whisper slithered into his mind. "You are ours now." And as Jason's last scream echoed into the abyss, the village faded once more, waiting for its next visitors.